I've been trying to be more careful of if I get an awful night's sleep, I just don't trade typically. Again, that comes down to just being mature enough and humble enough to know where I guess your limits are. And it's not just sleep. This applies to burnout, anger. Like you know that when you sit down to trade angry, you're going to trade different. You just are.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. 99% of traders will never make consistent profits. So why listen to the 99% of advice? On this show, we're going to challenge some of the most hallowed and repeated tenets of trading, and in doing so, set you up to succeed where others fail. Spoiler alert, we don't have a secret strategy or magic wand that will let you skip out on the hard work of learning the markets, but we can debunk viewpoints that are holding you back. If that sounds good to you, come join us.
Well, today I'm talking to Levi I had about 2 hours of sleep yesterday, and Levi, I think, has had about 1 hour of sleep. And when we got on to record, it got us talking because we've actually we're kind of in the same place. Levi didn't trade today, and I actually am taking a week off from trading. What better time than maybe to talk about burnout or also just knowing yourself, right? Knowing when not to take trades. Now, if this podcast rambles or is super short or doesn't make sense, that's okay. Skip and don't listen to it because, as I said, both Levi and I are running on very little sleep for very different reasons. Levi, what's going on? Your house falling apart?
Yeah, so we're working on our triplex right now, and we had a hard start date for our tile guy to come in this morning. And they're booked way out. So you miss it, and then they don't get there for the next 2 months. And so we were tearing up the old floor, and it's an old house, so I should have known better because old houses always have surprises. And so we were tearing up the old flooring just to get it ready for him, and then realized that the floor in the bathroom had water damage and was just rotted through. And so we had to replace it. And this is like 10 o'clock at night. And so we had enough plywood to fix part of the floor, and that took until like 4:30 in the morning. But we had to go get more plywood from Home Depot when it opened at 6. So I slept from 4:30 to 5:30. Woke up at 5:30 to get to Home Depot at 6 so I could get another piece of plywood, finish fixing the floor before the before the tile guy came at 8. So cut it close, but got it done. But yeah, just absolutely drained. Yeah, like you said, if we ramble, I'm sorry. My brain is just absolutely fried. And that's why I didn't trade this morning. And because I just knew I was just going to trade badly. And then, that lines up to kind of where you're currently at. You hadn't taken some trades. So yeah, I think this is something that it's not even a skill issue. It's not even something like this is just something that you have to be mature enough to do. And and a lot of time ego I think gets in the way, and we're traders, so we like to trade. Trading is enjoyable. That's what we do. It's really hard to have the maturity to go, hey, you know what? Okay, yeah, maybe I'll take a good trade today, but ultimately I know, just if I average out my stats, I know that I can't be trading. I'll be trading worse today on 1 hour of sleep. And if I'm trading worse, then maybe I shouldn't trade.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that kind of takes me why I'm not
Yeah,
I got
where
very
are
little.
you at?
I got very little sleep the other night because I had I run a drug and alcohol rehab, had a client come in. Usually we try to get people that aren't going to, but sometimes people decide to take a bunch of pills before they arrive, and he arrived high as a kite. And anyway, ended up trying to have to chase him through the airport at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then ended up being on site and having to wrestle a crazy naked man with the police. So it was, it was an adventurous last 24 hours. But I actually took this week off previous to that. Because like kind of like you, but it's slightly different is that I was just feeling burnt out in general. Like I am currently running a rehab, and then I'm trying to get back into fitness because I've got a dad bod going with my 6 month old. So I hadn't been getting much sleep in general for months. So I was like, I'm gonna take 2 weeks off from trading because I'd seen my trading deteriorate over a couple weeks where just my stats weren't lining up, and I had an amazing April of trading. And then through the first couple weeks in May, I was watching my stats go down and down, and I could tell mentally I just was not in the right spot, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the week off because I know mentally I'm not there, physically I'm not there, sleep wise I'm not there. If I'm only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, again, like that affects your trading. You're not at the only time trading, it's an edge game, right? And if you don't have your edge mentally, you're not going to have it. So I decided, okay, I'm taking 2 weeks off. I'm going to be sleeping 8 hours of every night. I'm working out half hour to an hour every day. I'm getting things done at work so that I can then be able to have time to focus on trading. And so it was time to just reset, right? Like I could see it in the stats. Like I saw my stat when my trading starts, when you start looking at your journal and you go, oh, what did I have? I think I had like 16 winning days and 4 losing days in April or something. And then when you have a streak where you're just losing almost every day, or then you're break even all of a sudden and it's even numbers, you're like, something's happening. Gotta take a step back and reevaluate.
Yeah, that's really good. And that reevaluation can sometimes be, hey, I've been trading fine, I just got unlucky. But sometimes, and a lot of the time, and I know for me, there's reasons why you do poorly. I mean,
Hmm.
and not always. I mean, sometimes you just get unlucky, but um there's oftentimes reasons, and that's where that maturity comes from. Your talk on sleep is huge. When I was actually in talks with a sleep specialist that I wanted to get on the podcast, because I like getting people on the podcast who aren't necessarily traders but who have something to share with traders, and sleep is one of those huge ones that, like, especially because a lot of traders trade early morning, and trading is such a mental game that if you're just not on the tippy top of your performance, you're just going to do poorly. And if you're just getting suboptimal sleep, you're just going to trade worse. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're just going to trade worse than if you got good sleep. And so that's a huge one that I know I've been trying to be more careful of. If I get an awful night's sleep, I just don't trade typically. And again, that comes down to just being mature enough and humble enough to know where I guess your limits are. And it's not just sleep, but like this applies to, like you said, burnout is a huge one. Hey, are you stressed, overly stressed at work? Like anger, like are you all ticked off at your spouse? Like we've had you have
Depressed.
yeah,
Depressed.
depressed, angry. Like you know that when you sit down to trade angry, you're going to trade different. You just are. Or yeah, like you said, depressed. Like that changes how you trade. And so um being careful of being mindful of your numbers and just watching that stuff, that's huge. Being able to that helps your edge, because beginners try to trade every day. That's what beginners do. Experts recognize, hey, today's not going to be a good day. Whether or not that's because of price action or because because of personal action. Like that's like having the maturity to know when those days are is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of times, a lot of traders, they use trading as a bit of a emotional regulation, right? You're depressed, you want to go trade. You're angry, you want to go trade because your brain knows, right? Your brain knows that you could get that dopamine high from a nice solid win. Now, we all know
Yeah.
that if you're trading depressed or angry, the chances of you actually winning not very good. But your brain knows that it can get a hit of that dopamine, and so you want to go and trade. And like this, I'm guilty as charged. This is honestly, I was doing this, and that's why I'm taking some time off, because I saw it and I was like, listen, I got to stop here for a week, take some time. Like if things are crazy at work or things are crazy with the kids, or I'm feeling fat and out of shape, like maybe I just need to take a couple weeks to focus, because it's like, oh, well, this isn't going well, so I can trade. And if I get a good trade, I can feel good about myself. And that's honestly not the way you should be handling trading. But I think it's something, I mean, I know it's something I fall into, and I'm pretty sure other people do as well.
Yeah, and I liked your fix, which is just, hey, sometimes all the fix you need is just to take a little bit of time to let that stuff pass. This is actually, we had a question on this. This will, I guess, answer one of the questions early. One of the questions coming into our masterclass on the 30th. We have a link in the description. We have a masterclass on the 30th, 7 p.m. Eastern time, where we'll be going over our trading philosophy, doing live trading, answering questions. It'll be a lot of fun. Come join us. But people, when they were signing up had the opportunity to ask some questions, and one of them was how to get over losing streaks. And this is a little bit off topic, but this is like if you're in a slump, and you recognize, hey, it's because I'm depressed, it's because I'm stressed, it's because I'm not getting enough sleep, whatever. The easiest way to get over that slump is oftentimes just stop, just reset. There's something about coming to the market with a fresh pair of eyes. There's something about if you're in a slump for a month, taking a week off and coming back the next week, it changes stuff, and it helps you hit it with a new vigor and kind of shake off the cobwebs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've done this twice in my trading career where I've taken a full like purposeful just break from like I'm not looking at the charts, I'm not trading, I'm doing nothing. And it's always been a huge benefit. Like I've always come back a better trader because sometimes, I mean, again, we've said the edge in trading is your brain. And we all know that your brain sometimes, like a computer, you just need to cool down your brain. And trading is a very brain intensive, whether you feel it or not. And it's not like, again, we've said this on the podcast. It's not because you're doing super deep technical analysis. It's like it's implicit learning, right? Your brain has learned it over time, and it's just doing all this work in the background. Sometimes you just need to let it veg, so to speak. And that veg essentially is like clearing the memory on your computer. You're going to come back faster. You're going to come back better performing. And sometimes it's just needed. So yeah, definitely recommend people give it a try. And let's be honest, if the thought of not trading for a day or two makes you feel anxious, probably means that you need to do it.